Hey guys, it's Kevin DeSilva here with the Living in Los Angeles channel. And if you've been paying any kind of attention to the real estate market here in Los Angeles, California, you have noticed that homes are selling quick and they're seeing tons of bidding wars. We're seeing it all over the place. It's that time of the year again where the spring market is really hitting and rates are starting to come down and people are coming out and buying houses. So this episode is all about how to win at bidding wars, how to prepare yourself, and the 5 simple things you can do to set yourself up for success so the market doesn't get away from you this spring. So the first thing you're going to want to do is hire a real estate agent who frequently wins at bidding wars. Not to toot my own horn or anything, but most times when I offer on a house, there is another offer somewhere on the table, whether they're already negotiating with it or we're coming in and there's 5 or 10 other offers. That it doesn't matter. But the reality is, by following a simple process, a real estate agent like myself can actually cut through the weeds and get you the house. I average getting my clients every first or second home that they purchase. In fact, last year I helped 7 buyers. I wrote 8 offers. Just to give you an example of how that works. We've already closed 2 this year. I actually technically got 1 client, 2 properties. So in total, we had 3 successes. So I'm batting 1,000% this year. Now, it's not always about the agent. Relationships do matter. Trust me, the longer you're in the business, the better you do business, the more other agents want to work with you, the more they will give you information so that your client can win, because they know it's going to be better for their client working with an agent who has great representation with their own clients on average. That said, it really boils down to the process. When I was new in the industry, I was writing 10, 15, 20 offers for clients. That's a lot of heartbreaks. God bless the people that stuck around with me for the first couple years. I know that there were a lot of heartbreaks and you finally got your dream home. Many of my clients are still in those homes. But the reality is, you don't need the heartbreak. You want to start living the next chapter of your dream. So the process is what's going to take you there, and having an agent who has a process that consistently wins at bidding wars is an essential first step for getting into a house this spring and not living through despair along the way. And the second part, well, is getting your finances in order. I recommend getting pre-approved with multiple lenders. The reason being is some lenders just really kill it at the rates. They crush it. They have the cheapest rates in the industry, but they don't move very quickly. And when you're trying to win a bidding war, your ability to close quickly will extremely increase your chances of winning. Now, that doesn't mean you have to take a rate that's 2% over. It just means you take a small haircut in exchange for winning the deal, because the reality is, as these prices are rising right now, you might end up losing more money buying a house 3 months from now than that rate is going to cost you right now. So I always recommend have a rate lender on hand, have a lender that gives great credits, and have a lender who performs quickly, and you're not sacrificing immensely on the rate. And when I say immensely, like, we're talking about 1/8 of a 1/4%. There are lenders out there who move very quickly, but they charge an arm and a leg, and your rate is about 0.5% higher. You don't want that. And if you find yourself in a situation where you just feel your rate is a little too high, comment below and we'll connect you with our core lenders so that you can get a great rate and close quickly and get into a home this spring. Now, similar to your ability to close quickly with a lender who does an amazing job and has a killer rate, is your ability to move through your protection periods quickly. The seller wants to be able to see that their money's on its way in a shorter time period. Now, in the real estate contract, we call these contingencies. These are conditions that need to be satisfied for you to complete the purchase. The 3 most common ones, and they just added a 4th one, is your investigation contingency, which used to have the insurance one, which is now its own contingency, your ability to obtain insurance prior to close of escrow. The investigation is just investigating all matters affecting real estate. Many people call this the inspection contingency. Your appraisal contingency there's a trick here, and I'll give it to you here in a second, and your loan contingency. Now, the shorter you can make all of these, the quicker the seller knows that they're getting paid. Because when you remove your contingencies, your deposit is hard. The seller has a claim to your deposit, and you have to fight for it in order to get back, and you're not guaranteed to get any of it back. So the shorter you can make these while still protecting yourself is how you can also win, and especially beating out cash offers. We've done that a number of times through these strategies. And before we leave the contingency topic, I can never recommend removing the investigation contingency. There is a trick where you do your investigation inside of your deposit period, but you're not acting in good faith. If you're caught, the seller could sue you and have a claim at your deposit, even though you never put it in escrow. So definitely be careful on what you do and what you don't do with contingencies, because there are ramifications and you have to know how to get through it. Next, you have to put a personal touch on the offer. Now, clean terms, offering strong, shortening your contingencies, adding a pre-approval letter, which is a must, including your proof of funds, showing the seller, hey, not only am I financeable, but I also have the money on hand to be able to do this transaction. You don't have to worry about anything as far as me completing the sale, because part of the money is mine, part of the money is the lender's. So these are essential. We develop the relationship with the other party. That's the personal touch that I put on with the listing agent. But there's also putting a personal touch on the buyer, making it about being human. Now, buyer letters aren't always allowed. Some people actually reject buyer letters. However, I always give a bio about the buyer, why this house is so important to them. I keep it very minimal. And the reason being is I don't want to infringe on fair housing and create a situation where it might be construed as discrimination. What I'm trying to convey is you're familiar with the area, you love the home, we've walked through it, we've talked about it, we've essentially done an initial round of due diligence, and you are committed to buying this house. Because not only is it about the price, it's about telling the seller, I'm going to start this transaction and I'm going to finish it. This next one isn't about getting your offer accepted. It's more about closing the transaction and starting the next chapter of your dreams. And that is being flexible with this situation. And flexibility might mean going up a little bit on price, because this same home might be more expensive the next time we come around to it. But it also means being more flexible in the transaction. So yeah, coming up a little bit on price and being flexible with your contingencies can help you get into the deal itself, have the seller select you over the 10 other buyers who have offered on the property. But it's also, being in the transaction, knowing that 3 or 4 buyers just missed out on this house and they're going to be competing for this house. Some of those buyers might have already upped their offer just to try to make the seller kick you out of the transaction. And this is going to make it extremely difficult to get repairs either compensated at close of escrow or corrected prior to close of escrow. Because if the seller's sitting there looking at the other offers who've already come up, they don't want to negotiate very much with you. So keep that one in mind as you're offering, and especially as you're opening escrow after winning a bidding war. So these are the top 5 steps on how to win a bidding war. And the reality is we're just touching the tip of the iceberg. The more comfortable you are with the situation, the better you can manipulate the situation to your advantage. And I don't mean manipulate in a bad way. I mean manipulate the offering situation so that you win the house over other buyers in the market, because it is a competition. And if you don't get it, somebody else will enjoy that house for you. And that is why we offer a courtesy to all of our clients. It's called the Home Buying Prep Call. It's the 10 things you need to know about buying a home here in Los Angeles. It runs you through the contracts, your contingencies, financing, closing costs. So there are no curveballs during the transaction. We talk about timelines and how to manipulate the offer to your advantage so that the seller picks you over your competition. Because the reality is, it's nice being in a bidding war. Looking at homes is fun, but at some point you really want to be in that house and you want to be the one enjoying it. It's Kevin DeSilva here again with the Living Los Angeles channel. If you want more tips and tricks like this, if you want more information about the home buying process, hit that subscribe button, turn on the notifications. We look forward to helping you get into the next chapter of your dreams. Have a wonderful evening, and we'll talk soon.